And here we are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Uncle Bashir, how are we doing?
Everything is good, man.
Fantastic. How's the sound at your end?
Sounds pretty good.
Good. So, as you know, we spoke earlier on, but now we're doing this one. It's the public show. So, let's get straight into things. Let's talk about Tyson Fury and DILLIAN Whyte. The build up to the fight. You made some very interesting comments to me about how you saw the fight before it happened, and sort of you were able to use your experience as a master trainer, teacher. And I certainly learned a hard lesson with this fight. Talk to me.
I think that when you're preparing for any fight, especially a fight of that magnitude, the most prestigious prize in the world of sports is the heavyweight championship of the world. I just thought from my perspective, I don't know what the fighter was thinking, but I from my perspective, when you're preparing for a boxing match of that magnitude, the most prestigious prize in the world of sports, you've got to be a bit more serious. I mean, not to a point where you're worried, not to the point where you're stressing, but a bit more serious. I felt that DILLIAN was just too friendly, too happy-go-lucky coming into the fight. The weigh-in, the press conference, just too affable, too giving, I would have tried to guide him to be a bit more serious and take it a bit more serious. I can understand a boxer being confident, but don't be confident to a point where you're beyond reality. That's just my perspective. I don't know what the boxer was going through. I don't want to try to assume his position. I don't want to try to discredit him for his position. But I just thought that he was a little laid back going into the championship.
Can laid back be also? It can be perceived as laid back. Can it just be so demoralized, so beaten, so broken that your fight before you get in the ring, you've had a fight with WBC? Now, I touched on it before the fight with our viewers, and I said to them that the conversation between DILLIAN Whyte and Mauricio Sulaiman, the WBC president, he said to him, I've paid millions and millions to get this fight, and I lost my mind through this. And I did mention that to people. I did allude to it in the pre-fight, but I touched on it to make awareness. But I didn't realize how serious things were behind the scenes. So when I did my post-fight interview, post-fight show, which I sent to you and others, somebody called me and said to me, Ingram, I said, yes. I said, you're aware that you may not be aware that DILLIAN was in a state of depression before entering the fight. And this fight with the WBC took a lot more out of him. So when he spoke on that little clip about him talking to Mauricio Sulaiman and telling me he lost his mind, he was in deep depression. So that laid back approach may also be perceived as a guy that was beaten well before he entered the ring. And we talk about mental health when it comes to Tyson Fury. But this situation with somebody who could have been or reportedly is seriously depressed. I mean, I've said before, I've never seen DILLIAN Whyte look so bad. He looked like a guy who hadn't done no sparring with anybody. Like his preparation, the way he came into the ring, the way he was fighting, he did not look somebody who prepared to take on the task of Tyson Fury. Yes, he had his limitations, but I didn't expect it to look that bad. I mean, the way he was throwing his punches, the way he was, like I said before, starting out with as a southpaw, there seemed to be no structured game plan. And it showed in his work. It showed that the sparring, with the sort of sparring gets you sharp. He didn't look sharp. He was blown out of his ass from like 2 rounds. I didn't understand. I didn't get it. But after the conversation, the person went in depth about what happened in training camp. I'm like, wow. Okay.
When I'm training a boxer, I try to confront the issues that I think might be a problem before we get to the big day. You know, I try to address those issues before we get to the big dance. I don't know what the preparation was for Dillian Whyte. Even if he had this ongoing struggle with Suleiman, this is something that he had time to address. How long have they been notified about this fight? For 4 months, right?
But he's been running around doing it all by himself. He's got no promote. He's self-promoted. He's self-promoted. He's got no ties with Matchroom. It's just by a fight-to-fight basis. So he's an independent. He's a freelancer.
Well, my thinking is that these guys are making money.
Right.
That you find somebody who is qualified, find somebody that you trust, and let them do the walking. You concentrate on winning the fight. You know, not unless you just don't want to spend no money. Now, if you don't want to spend no money, then you got a big problem. But my suggestion is for any athlete, any boxer out there that's trying to achieve something, you've got to find people in your life that you trust, that you can trust, and pay those people to do the walking for you. Pay those people to address the issues that's in your mind. But you yourself have got to concentrate on the big dance. And that's inside the ring. You've got to be free of all of that in order to be a champion. And then after winning the championship, the hard part starts. The hard part starts because everybody and their mother is after you. They want to knock your head off because they want what you got. So the hard part really takes place when you step in the ring to win it. And then after you win it, you have to maintain it. Maintaining it is much harder to me than just winning it. So with that, that's his own fault. I'd say it's his own fault. But you can't take on the world and then go in the ring and box. No, that's not going to work. You got to have people around you to do those things that you can trust to do those things, that you can trust that are qualified to take care of that business. You concentrate yourself on the fight. Him coming out as a southpaw, I'm saying, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I'm like, what is this? Was it some kind of a joke to make Tyson Fury laugh? Because that's exactly what he was doing on the inside. Because you're not going to confuse a boxer of that level coming out as a southpaw.
Wow.
You know,
to me, it reminded me, or the idea of the southpaw reminded me of like a trainer wanting to say, "I'm going to make my mark on this fight. Yeah, I'm going to show what Dillian Whyte has never done before. He's going to go southpaw on the biggest stage of the world." I'm thinking, like, why would you do that? Wow, that seemed like an ego thing. Why would you do that? Why would you even spend time trying to get your fighters to turn southpaw against?
I've had many boxers over the years who attempted to do that stuff in the training camp, and I'd come and I pull them to the side and I say, "Listen, man, why are you doing that? Don't do that unless it becomes a necessity."
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you just want to have a test run at it, you know, if you want to have a test run at it, then you tell me so, and then I can understand it more. But you need to concentrate on the work at hand, on the work at hand, and then you can practice all the other stuff later on.
Or maybe the southpaw thing was something that Dillian decided to do himself because he just wasn't in the frame of mind. I don't know, but it just wasn't the smartest thing to be doing.
No, it wasn't the brightest thing to do. I think that it was I think a sign of confusion, a sign of confusion,
Okay, another. I want to pick your brain on this one, Uncle. So, in the lead up to the fight, I was saying that Harold the Shadow Knight, as we know, a former
Please give me
sorry.
1 minute. My neighbor's over here.
Sorry, Uncle. Sure. For those of you that are in the comment section and want to leave a comment, please become a member and join in. Feel free.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What was I saying to you? I forgot what I was saying to you.
Should have wrote it down.
Yes, that was it. I'm gonna want to pick your brain on something. How the Shadow Knight, former very, very good top contender boxer, as you know, and then a trainer, assistant trainer to Lennox Lewis, and was assistant to Emmanuel Stewart. Of course, you would know all of that.
Yes.
So you've got a guy who's got a lot of experience in many world title fights. And of course, being around that sort of camp, an elite training camp with the best sparring partners and the rest, you get to learn a thing or two about how to prepare for a world title fight, particularly of one of this magnitude. You've got Harold the Shadow Knight there, and then you've got Xavier Miller. Now, that's not no disrespect to Xavier Miller, but when it comes up on the screen, they've got the screen, it has the two fighters and it has the corners, and it said Xavier Miller, head coach. I'm like, okay, I get that Dillian's made him head coach, but surely Harold the Shadow Knight would have been better fitted to be the head coach based on his experience, and then Xavier be an assistant to Harold the Shadow Knight, gain that experience, and then when Harold the Shadow Knight decides to move on, or Dillian doesn't feel he no longer needs Harold, or however that works out, that at least Xavier Miller would have got that experience under a very good trainer who's had that experience at the highest level as a coach. Your thoughts?
Boxing, the sport of boxing right now is basically an act of buffoonery. Because I see in other sports, no other sport reflects in comparison to boxing. Soccer, volleyball, basketball, football, baseball. Those sports acquire the knowledge of the best that money has to offer. And they go after the best. Even in the phone companies, they go after the best and they pay top dollars for the best. And they want them to perform their duties at the top of their games. Boxing is unlike any other sport because boxing is a sport where you bring in your friend, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, and you give them positions of authority, when they don't have any knowledge of the sport. They don't have any knowledge of how to propel the individual to top levels. So they go out and they make mistakes over and over and sometimes over again. I just don't understand it. Xavier Miller, I don't know him, but he's relatively a green guy when it comes to knowledge of the sport of boxing. Harold Knight was a very, very solid professional boxer.
Yes.
I knew Harold Knight early on when he was in the amateurs and when he turned pro, and I was present for many of his pro fights. And those guys that Harold Knight was fighting, though they never became household names, they were legitimate fighters. Those guys that Harold Knight was fighting by today's standards would be world champions. They were tough fights. They were very tough fights when he came up the ladder. And then to compete 15 rounds versus a top flight boxer in Rocky Lockridge, that proved. Then he went on to be a stand-in in the Lennox Lewis camp for many years. So I'm thinking that Dillian Whyte should have embraced him and put him in the lead training spot. But boxing doesn't work like that. Boxing just doesn't work like that. You put a person in now based on your relationship, your personal relationship with the male or female, and then you run with that there, and you go out there, you make mistakes because the person that was at the helm, the leadership, froze when they were confronted with a crisis. As Dillian Whyte was confronted with a crisis last night. One of the first things that I noticed that he was huffing and puffing in the fourth round of a 12-round fight. He's huffing and puffing.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't in good condition.
So that's when, well, whether he was in condition or not, that's when somebody needs to say, listen, calm down, relax, take a round off, take 2 rounds off if you have to calm yourself down. You know, a wise trainer would have told him, say, listen, go out there and just give a round away, give 2 rounds away. But you have to control your breathing. You got to control your stamina. We have many rounds to go. But he was huffing and puffing in the 4th, 5th round. So I think that Dillian Whyte, Xavier Miller, like I said, Xavier Miller might be a good guy, you know? And I'm sure he's picked up some things now in the years that he's been in boxing. But I don't know that he was ready for the fight of such magnitude as this one. This is for all of the marbles.
Absolutely.
You know, so you'd have to think that Dillian Whyte would say, okay, Harold Knight has to be the lead trainer. He has to be the voice in that corner. Everybody can't talk him. You there?
I'm there, Uncle. I'm here.
Good God.
Somebody ringing you? I'm here, Uncle.
Hello?
I'm
Okay,
here, Uncle.
back.
Can you see me? I'm here.
I can't hear you.
Oh, not this again. Hello? Hello? Oh, not this again. Hello? Hello? William?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Oh, let's try this. Hold on.
Someone tried to call and that's interrupted your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Nothing.
Can't hear me.
I'll go out the room and come back.
Can you hear me, Uncle? Hello?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
What is going on here?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I think it's because there was a phone call that
Yeah,
cut
so it
that.
was a phone. It was a phone call.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, Uncle.
A telemarketer, trying to hustle me.
Oh, dear me. Keep going. And you were given some great wisdom as well.
Yeah, I just lost my place. I'm concentrating on trying to get you back on the air.
Right. We were talking about, was it buffoonery in boxing and basically
Yeah,
family involved.
boxing has become a mockery. It's buffoonery because it's the only sport who does not place people according to their credentials. And that's why the sport itself is sinking to an all-time low. Because you just have a lot of people in boxing who are not qualified, who are not knowledgeable, and they're guessing their way through the sport with good boxers, good talented boxers. But the boxers will never become great boxers. They will never become all-time greats because they don't have the people in their corners who have knowledge or application of the sport. You don't find that in baseball and football and soccer. You don't find that kind of nonsense. Boxing is the only sport that you find that in, where people who are not qualified, who are being put in qualified positions. So they limit the growth of the boxer because they are limited in their mind. They are limited in their applications. So they limit the growth of the boxers, thereby not being able to grow to that status of all-time greats. I stand by my words. I stand by because I'm a boxing trainer. I'm not trying to be a boxing trainer / carpenter. I'm not trying to be a boxing trainer / auto mechanic. I'm not trying to be a boxing trainer / media prima donna. I'm a boxing trainer. I've staked my life, literally my life, on training boxers, being successful at training boxers. And many of the people in boxing today, they've got other hobbies, other activities going on in their life, thereby not committing fully to the boxing apparatus itself.
Well, there's a few people in boxing who have taken on people who had no right to be their trainers, particularly in the heavyweight division, had no right to be their trainers. And you just think if these fighters had a world-class trainer, they would have been so much better as fighters. And we've lost some really potentially great heavyweights to
Yeah,
mediocre heavyweights due
that's
to
true. That's
poor
true.
tutelage. Poor tutelage.
What the people in boxing don't understand is mainly the boxer themselves is that this sport has a short life, a very small window
Mhm.
of success. If a boxer is able to stand in for 20 years, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very long time. So that's what I'm saying. Boxing is being really fortunate to be in there for 20 years. And if he exceeds 20 years, that's really great. But it's not likely when you have somebody who's making mistakes, who's getting on the job training, thereby limiting the principle. They're limiting the growth of the principle. But you can't tell these guys. And most of the time, the athlete is the last one to know. They find out when it's too late to make the difference.
Let me ask you another question in terms of the athletes. Why should fans invest in fighters that don't invest in their career, i.e., not getting the quality sparring, not getting the quality trainer in, not making the decisions that are going to make them be a better fighter?
Well,
Why would you do that?
the fan today is not the fan of yesteryear in no sport. The fan of yesteryear could actually be managers and promoters. You know, and they can actually do that because they were so invested in the sport and the athlete. They knew the do's and don'ts. Today's fan always jumps on the bandwagon when the cake is coming out the oven, but they're not with the athlete in the beginning of their careers. They get on the bandwagon far into the boxer's career.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just surface. They have surface knowledge of the guy. They don't go back to the beginning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yesteryear, the fan was with the athlete, whether it was a boxer, baseball player, hockey player, football. They was with the athlete from the very beginning. So they knew the athlete.
Today,
Today's fan is just surface fans.
That's why when I started out this platform almost 10 years ago, that one of the things was I wanted to see the fighters as I'd say, look, here's 10 fighters I like, 10 fighters before people knew who they were. And I would listen to the comment section. He's not very good. He's not very good. He can't box. Who's he? Who's he for? And now you look at these guys, world champions, undisputed champions, multiple weight world champions. And today they're jumping up and down and raving about them. And I'm thinking to myself, you were the same people, not too long ago, it will turn around saying these guys couldn't fight. What happened? So I question what a lot of these boxing fans are looking at today.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I've seen, like I said before, I've seen it all over the world. I've been blessed to travel to many parts of the world, and I say that graciously, that I've been blessed to travel to many parts of the world, to live in many parts of the world, because most of the time a training camp is anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've traveled to these venues and I've observed what is commonly perceived as boxing trainers. And I'm saying, my goodness, look at the amateurish mistakes that these guys are making. Little things let a seasoned professional know when something is doing wrong. You look at the little things from the very beginning, and the way that a trainer might have a boxer move, or the things that he's telling the boxer to do inside the gym, will let a seasoned professional know that, no, this is not correct. It's not correct, But what can I say? What can I say? And you chose this here person to be your leader. You chose this person to be your trainer. But when the crisis comes in that corner, and oftentimes crisis does come in a corner, will that individual be prepared to deal with that crisis? And I mean split second. You have to make decisions in a split second to get the win or concede to the loss. That's boxing.
Let me share this with you, Uncle. Mr. Bashir's words, this is Leif Grayson, member. He goes, Mr. Bashir's words are making me think if Muhammad Ali was in his 20s today, he would be a victim of poor training, never doing anything in the sport.
It could be. Because there's not many teachers around today the way they were in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s. They were teachers. You had teachers, and many of those teachers are now deceased. So, I think that But I don't know. Ali wasn't a special guy. He was special, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, do you think he would have still gone to the Olympics? And you still think he would have been world heavyweight champion in this era, based on the limited amount of teachers today? But he's an intelligent guy, Ali.
You take a guy like, some people are special. You take a guy like let's say a Jeff Finnick.
Okay.
Jeff Finnick never put the gloves on until he was 17 years old.
Yeah.
All right.
Tough guy, Finnick.
Then he went to the Olympics at 19 years old and became world champions at 20, 21 years old. The guy was special. He was special. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Many people could do that. You put the gloves on for the first time at 17, then at 19, you're in the Olympics, and then at 20 or 21, you became the world champion. So that he was special. What's the other young man? How can I forget his name? You know? Oh man, how can I forget his man? And please, when he look at this here thing, you know, but when he looks at this, he's gonna be upset with me, you know, because I know him well, you know.
What weight division?
Lightweight.
Okay.
Lightweight. From Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
John David Jackson trained him.
John David Jackson.
Oh my goodness, he's going to be upset with me because I can't remember his name. But forgive me because I've been knocked in the head, so sometimes my memory slips away from me. You know. You know, I've been knocked in the head, and that you know, I had bleeding on the brain, so that's impaired me a little bit. You know.
Was that the Milky Way kid? I'm going through him.
Oh man, how could I forget his name? And it's still eluding me because I'm under pressure, because I'm on the air with you, you know. Otherwise, I'd be able. But,
okay, name me one of his fights. Name me one of his fights. What fight he's famous for? Then maybe I might be able to help you on it.
I can't. I'm under the pressure, man. I'm under pressure right now, and I can't think of this fighter's name. But he was a magnificent fight, and he started his career late.
Okay.
He started his career late, and he still came out to be a dynamic boxer, a dynamic champion. I got his name forefront of my mind, but I can't get it. I can't remember it. But John David Jackson was his trainer.
Okay. I'll see what I'll do. Let me do what I'll do. I'll Google it. Fighters, John David.
I just can't think of it. You know,
Jackson.
I know him well. You know, we communicate sometime on Facebook. You know, and I just can't. I can't think of it. I got his name right on the forefront of my mind. I just can't grab it out of me. You know. So please forgive me when you look at this video. Please forgive me. But he's a guy that I have a lot of respect for. Tough fighter, but he started his career late.
Nate Campbell. I was right. I could see the guy. I could see the guy's face. Well, I could see the guy's face when we were talking.
I could see his face clearly.
Nate Campbell.
Just can't remember the name, you know?
Nate Campbell.
Nate Campbell was the guy that started his career late. And he went on to be a profound boxer. Tough guy, was in the trenches. So certain boxers just has a gene in them that propels them to greatness. Mm-hmm. And because he started late, he didn't have no big amateur career. He turned out to be a dynamic force in boxing. Dynamic force in the sport of boxing. And he was in with good fighters. He was always in with good, solid fighters. So you can't dismiss the fact that
Nate Campbell? Wasn't Nate Campbell the guy that got knocked up like for clowning around?
Yeah.
He was winning the fight handily. He dropped his hands and bam, got nailed that shot.
He got nailed with the shot. Knocked out.
That's why I asked you, what fight is he famously known for? Because I think I knew who the fighter was you were talking about. So yeah, that's what he was famously known for. Although he's a tremendous fighter. Unfortunately, that is one of the things that people remember with Nate Campbell. Because it was so devastating, it made no sense.
Yes. He was a dynamic boxer. And he started late. So you can't dismiss a guy because he doesn't have that amateur pedigree, because he started late. It's just a gene. It's just a desire in the boxer to achieve something. And he achieved it.
Yeah.
I think he fought, what's that? Was it Juan Diaz?
Yes.
In a tremendous fight. In a tremendous fight. Man, you can't teach that. You can't teach that. You can't teach that. That has to be embedded in the boxer. So Ali might have been even great in this era because it's just something that's inside of them. Something that you can't teach.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Fighters that we know have got lots of money, but are not willing to part with their money, even if it's for the benefit of their career. Can you understand the thinking behind that?
No, other than the fact that they want to keep the money for themselves.
Yeah, but they can make more money if they invest in a proper trainer.
That's not the way boxers think.
That's why you say that's why they're boxers. That's why they're boxers, right?
Most boxers come from a state of poverty. Most boxers, not every boxer, but many boxers.
Okay.
And when they get money, they don't want to part with the money under no circumstances. You know, under no circumstances do they want to part with the money. I pointed out to a young man not long ago, and I told the young man, I said, listen, if you want to have smooth sailing in your career, one of the things you must do, I said, take care of the individuals that are around you. Take care of them. So I do take care of them. I said, no, take care of them so that they don't want for nothing. You're in a position to take care of them where they don't have to want for anything. I said, the one thing that you don't want is disgruntled employees. So take care of them. Secondly, take care of the sparring partners, those guys that you're going to beat on at least 3 days a week for numerous rounds. Take care of them so that they don't be disgruntled about being in your service. Take care of them. You're in a position to take care of them well. So take care of those people. And then thirdly, take care of yourself. Your trainer. Take care of the trainer so that the trainer is not working with you in a disgruntled attitude. You've got to take care of these people. You can take care of these people with just 1 million of the 20 million that you're making. With 1 million, you can take care of all of those people so that they don't be disgruntled with you. That they don't come in to work with you with a disgruntled attitude. When they come in to work with you, they should be coming work with you with a smile on their faces, ready to serve. Because you took one of your millions to take care of them. You can't keep all of the money. You've got to part with that money to take care of yourself. That's what professionals do. That's being professional. So don't sit around on top of a bunch of money and don't want to part ways with it. You know, you have to go out and take care of these people. You're not going to get anything done if you're stingy, if you're holding your money and not sharing the money with people. Nobody wants to work for nothing. Nobody wants to be taken for granted. So take one of your million out of the 20 million, 25 million, whatever you're making, and take care of those people. Whether I'm in your employ or not, that's what I'm telling you got to do. And I tell that to every fighter.
What happens when you've got disgruntled employees?
You get a half-assed job. You get I don't give a damn job. Okay, I did this here, but I'm not going to put my all into it because, look, he's not putting his all into me. But they'll know what your thinking is by the way you pay them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll know their worth with you by the way that you pay them, that way you reward them. At the end of the day, the reward is cash.
We're not talking about the business of boxing, right, Uncle?
We're talking about boxing.
The business of boxing.
We're talking about boxing. We're talking about, you know, the word is in boxing, they say never fall in love with a fighter.
Wow. I've heard that one before.
This is what the old trainers used to tell me many years. Don't fall in love with these guys.
Yeah, I've been told that.
Was working with a boxer, with Don King. And Don told me in the last fight that we did together in Las Vegas. And Don gave me a check, and I looked at the check, and you know it was $77,300, some minor dollars. And I reached to grab Don by the arm. I said, whoa, Don, wait a minute, man. We got a deal for $100,000. What is this? Don took the cigar out of his mouth and turned around and said, listen, man, you in love with that piece of shit guy that you got. He said, I ain't in love. He said, I'm in love with winning. He said, how can I take care of a broke ass nigga like that there if I don't be with the winner? He said, I'm in love with winning. You in love with the guy. You go ahead. He said, go to the poorhouse with him. And he said, as far as the figures that I gave you on that check, he said, look at the fine print on the contract that we made. In the meantime, have a nice day. Put the cigar in his mouth and walked away in a cloud of smoke. And I was steaming in a hotel hallway. I was steaming. You could have cooked a Thanksgiving dinner on my forehead. I was hot. But when I went back and looked at that contract, in the fine print, Don says something in there saying that if the fighter loses 2 consecutive fights at any given time between 6 and 7 months, blah, 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 you know, I have the right to deduct this amount of money. And he deducted it to the T. And now I'm really steaming because he's right. You know? So people criticize a man like Don King. But they got to consider that Don King was a street hustler. A street hustler, and he was competing against lawyers, educated guys, and he was the best. He was beating these guys. Those guys was educated, and he was street educated, and he was out hustling them, out thinking them. So I respect Don King. People can say what they want to say about Don King. Why did Canelo leave De La Hoya? Why did Mayweather
leave Aaron?
Wait. Diaz, De La Hoya, all these guys, why did they leave Aram? Why does people leave different promoters? Because they're disgruntled about something the promoter did or wasn't doing.
Disgruntled.
So what's the best promoter? What's the best promoter? You
The one that keeps his employees happy.
Look, everybody gets disgruntled with a promoter about this, about that, about money, about what they did or didn't do. So what promoter is any different from Don King? The average promoter is out to watch out for their own best interests. If I can get you to do this fight for $175,000, why should I give you $225,000? That's the nature of the game. You see it in baseball, football, hockey. They always vying for the biggest dollar.
Yeah.
And because I tell young fighters all the time, because a guy has got more money than another guy doesn't make them the best thing for you. Sometimes you take the lesser money to be with the better guy that's going to watch out for your safety. Sometimes you go with the guy that's giving you the most money, but ask yourself, what's he going to expect for that money that he's giving you? You got to ask yourself, what does this man, or what will he expect from me to do? What commitment will he do? What would he do to me for this money? What kind of position will he put me in for this money? Sometimes you got to look out for the people who care about your life. You take lesser money, but you be with the people who's going to watch out for your life.
Mm-hmm.
Never fall in love with the fighter. I'm guilty. I'm my mother's child. I'm my mother's child. Can't nobody in the sport of boxing ever say that I didn't look out for them. There's no boxer, past or present, that say that Bashir didn't look out for them. I went above and beyond the call of duty to look out for them, including Oleksandr Usyk.
We know that for sure.
Including Oleksandr Usyk. And if you question Usyk at any given time, he would never say that I didn't look out for him, that I didn't provide the best for him, that I didn't give him the best information, the best guidance. He won't say that. I know the man, you know. Everybody, every human being has their shortcomings. Every human being has their ways. But the one thing that I learned about Oleksandr Usyk, he's not a liar. And if anybody asks him, did Bashir provide the best information for you, the best training for you, he won't lie because he's not a liar. He might be a whole lot of other things according to some people, but he's not a liar. He's not going to lie. Igor Pavlenko and Vladimir Klitschko, Lennox Lewis, any of these guys that I've ever worked with, all of them will tell you that I'm an upstanding guy. Vlad Sirenko, they all will tell you I'm an upstanding guy. Ivana Habazin, they all tell you I'm an upstanding guy. I never cheated them. I never lied to them. I never misled them. Nobody can say that about me. And I've been in the sport 53 years, and nobody can call me and say at any time that I misled them, that I cheated them, that I backstabbed them, that I made a deal that I wasn't supposed to make. Every one of them will tell you that I was an upstanding guy.
Too upstanding for some of them.
Because I'm my mother's child.
Yeah, I understand
I'm my mother's child. That stands out foremost in my mind than any other issue. I'm my mother's child. And my mother raised me to be a certain way. She said, don't let nobody change you.
Mm-hmm.
All right? You be what I raised you to be. And that's what I am. I'm my mother's child. I'm not going to do wrong. I'm not going to deceive nobody. I'm not going to mislead nobody. I'm not going to betray nobody. I've had numerous times. I've had people ask me to sell out on Vladimir Klitschko. A couple of people over the years.
Wow.
No. Absolutely no.
When you say sell out, does that mean go in the other corner, or does that mean
make a deal? Make a deal. Just make a deal. Take this money, and this is what you have to do. I said, oh, no, I know.
Wow.
No.
People say that doesn't happen in boxing.
Yeah, in boxing, I mean, to win, you're talking millions of dollars, and to win, people will pay to secure the win.
People don't believe, but people say that doesn't happen in boxing. I know, and you know, it happens in boxing.
It's terrible. It's terrible. How could you look at somebody that trusts you and you betray them? In the old language, how could you do that for a few pesos? No,
it can be done. It can be done, and people
do
it.
It's unethical. You can't.
There are trainers. Well, there's one trainer I know for sure has done it.
The Klitschko brothers have been magnificent to me.
They have, as you've told me.
Magnificent people for me. Lennox Lewis has been magnificent for me. Vlad Sirenko has been magnificent for me. Igor Povetko has been magnificent for me. These people honor me. They respect me. And I can never, ever, ever betray that trust. My mom used to tell me, she said, son, she said, when you sleep at night, your brain is not supposed to watch your conscience. When I go to sleep at night, I'll be sleeping. I'll be slobbing on myself, falling off the bed, everything. Because my brain don't watch my conscience. My brain be watching sleep when I sleep.
So when you were approached, I don't go too much into it, but when you were approached, was this in a dark alleyway? Was it in a dark corner, or was he out in the light when you were approached?
Right at the fight, right in the in the hallway. At a dinner table.
While you're at it, let me ask you this. There are a lot of times I watch boxing, and just before the fighters come to the ring, I always get this image of this promoter coming in and giving the fighter more money for the other fighter in the opposing corner to fall down. And I always get it. I always get that feeling. It happens. So is that my imagination, or is that something that really would happen? And how far is my imagination from reality?
Well, I've never had it personally happen to me, but I know that it happens. It's happened before in a lot of sports. As it turns out, basketball, baseball, it's happened. Somebody come in with some money and say, "Hey, man, look, take a dive. I want that team to win. And here's X amount of dollars to make sure that it happens."
Damn.
And they take the money and they fall down. They got a baseball player here in the States called Pete Rose. He can't even go in the Hall of Fame because he was gambling on baseball.
Damn.
And he's an excellent player, but to this day, they will not allow this man to go into the Hall of Fame because he was gambling. And they
I hope he got paid well. I hope it was worth it.
To this day, they will not allow him to go into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Damn. Wow.
Panama Lewis is dead in his grave. And he can't go to the Hall of Fame because, he went to prison for what he did in the boxing ring.
Your good friend Stacy McKinley has just commented. He's not here, but he just sent me a message. I'll tell you about it afterwards regarding the DILLIAN Whyte fight.
You should have invited Stacy in the room.
You know what? Shall we do that?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let me see if let's see if we can do another exclusive today, eh? Bring two great traders to the corner.
Stacy McKinley is a piece of work. Oh.
Let me see what he says. I've just sent it to Stacy. If that happens, I'd be this would be great. This would be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, because to have two trainers that have got such knowledge it'd be just great to have that. And we can have a little chat about Trevor Bryant as well.
Yeah, Stacy McKinley was there a lot of times when Maurice Harris was boxing Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Stacy McKinley is the only witness that I have. I'll be telling people all the time that Maurice should be putting it on Mike. You know, he'd be putting it on Mike. And Mike, it wasn't because Mike wasn't trying. You know, Mike caught him a couple of times that hurt him really bad, you know, a couple of times. But Maurice Harris should be putting it on Mike.
But he's seen the message. He's seen the message. So if Stacy could jump in tonight, it'd be absolutely awesome. It really would.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get some. Oh, let's see what he's saying. When? Now. Okay. Oh, wow. It's going to happen. Stacy McKinley is going to come in the room. Hey, BWTM's members, you got something special today. Stacy McKinley and Uncle James Ali Bashir on the same show together. Wow. Oh, man. I just sit back and, as I say, just light a candle or, you know, let it go. You two talking, I sit back. I don't say nothing. Just let you two talk.
Yeah, you could also talk about when Stacy McKinley gonna let Trevor Bryant box with my guy Vlad Sirenko.
We'll have to discuss whether Trevor Bryant gets past Daniel Dubois first. That's gonna be
well, then I guess we have to talk to somebody else about getting Dubois.
Yeah, might have to do that. Yeah. Fight confirmed, Uncle. While we're talking, just a slight diversion. Fight confirmed. Joseph Parker, Joe Joyce.
The fight is confirmed?
More or less. They're just going through the finer details.
That's a good fight.
Damn good fight.
That's a really hot heavyweight battle.
Now, I think you're going to see Joe Joyce. He stops Joe Parker, in my opinion. I think he's that good.
Yeah, this is the best that these are two of the best that the heavyweight division has to offer in this current time.
Yeah,
and that's a good fight. That's a fight that'll get me up in the middle of the night to watch.
Let me quickly go through this stuff that. Okay, let's get this one quickly. As a British boxing fan, Leif Gramerson. My dream would be for James Ali Bashir to work with Anthony Joshua. Is there any chance of this happening?
Well, I spent time with Anthony Joshua, and I told him the do's and don'ts of the sport. You know, we even did a televised interview. You know, I guess that he's going to critique that. You know, but I'd like to work with Anthony Joshua. I like the person, you know, I like his desire. I like his ability, you know, and when you like somebody, it's easy to get the work done. Anthony and I, we hit it off really good, you know. From day one, we hit it off really good. So it's up to him now, you know. I can come in and do the job, you know. I can't guarantee no win. I'm not Houdini, but I can guarantee him that he'd be better prepared for his return match versus Oleksandr Usyk than he's ever been for any fight, because I'd invest myself into him. So I expect that he'll be calling me. I just expect that. Whether he calls me or not, I expect that he'll call me back.
What does it take to have a world-class training camp, in your opinion? What does a world-class training camp look like through the eyes of Uncle James Ali Bashir?
Collaboration, respect. That's it, all in a nutshell. Collaboration, respect. Everybody has a function inside of a training camp. You know, but in the old days, they say too many cooks spoil the soup. Everybody has to act in their function. Oh, yeah. Okay, well.
Oh, it's on now. It's on now. I'm out the room. I'm gone. I'm out the room. I'm out the room.
Stacy Mack, what's up, man?
Hey, Coach, how you doing? How you been, man?
I'm alive, man. I'm alive. How you doing?
I was talking to one of your ex-fighters, Maurice Harris. I saw his two kids, his son and his daughter, and he got a set of twin daughters, granddaughters.
Yeah.
Got a great family, man. Beautiful family.
Yeah. He's down there in Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Florida. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm flying out today about 5 o'clock to Vegas. We get ready to train to fight that old boy out of London. Over there where the other boy got knocked out. That's where he from.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Where'd you see Harris at?
No. I talked to him on Facebook. I finally got Facebook the last 2 months. Yeah.
Why don't you bring Vlad up to work with him?
Vlad?
To
work with Trevor Bryant?
Yeah, we boxed. Trevor
Dubois.
You Dubois. We boxed.
Yeah, we can do that. I got a couple of guys already, but I'll probably need another guy. No problem. I'll get in contact with you.
Just let me know, man, and I get him over here.
Yeah, I'm going to we're gonna be in Vegas for about 6 weeks.
Huh?
We're gonna be in Vegas for 6 or 7 weeks.
Okay, you got me. All you gotta do is just give me a call. Let me know.
I thought he was in Turkey.
No, he's in Poland now, but he's right around the corner from being here.
Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Huh?
I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
You give him some good work. You give him some good. He's a good guy, and he's been in there with Du Bois. They boxed a lot.
Okay. All right.
It's a good thing. It's a good look. It's a good look for him. But he going to do a 6-week camp.
Well, he did about 4 weeks here, and they're gonna do about 6 or 7 weeks out there. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. He should be ready to go.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. He ain't got no choice. You got to be ready. They was talking about that old boy who got knocked out last night. He's talking about fighting Brian, and I kept trying to tell you that's nothing right there. Kid ain't in that level. He wasn't going nowhere. Messing around with Tyson Fury.
Right.
So what were your thoughts on Dillian Whyte's performance against Tyson Fury?
My thoughts?
Yeah. Your thoughts?
It was about like I imagine it would be. I mean, you're looking at the guy I watched him when he fought Joshua a few years ago. He did a good job against Joshua, but he got knocked out. Then he come along and got knocked out by one of my former fighters, Prevekin. I mean, he got stretched. So what do you expect him to do against Tyson Fury, who's probably the best heavyweight in the world today?
Were you surprised him coming out southpaw?
No, I don't be surprised at what a fighter does. I can go back in time and say, was I surprised when Marvin Hagler came out right-handed against Sugar Ray Leonard? A lot of people were surprised, but he did it. So fighters try to do something. He tried to use a little psychological thing, but he had no contest.
And by the way, Hagler lost those rounds too when he was trying to box in the lefty stance.
Absolutely, lost him easy. Absolutely. Mhm.
in the righty stance, rather. You know,
Yeah.
he lost
Yeah.
he rounds.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, I want to ask you both a question. The uppercut that landed was a sweet punch, but now people are saying that Tyson pushed Whyte to the floor, so that contributed to the knockdown. Question I'm asking,
the push was instinctive, but
now that push,
but
would the question I'm going to ask, sorry, Uncle, the question I'm going to ask is, if the referee had told Tyson off, I'm not saying that Whyte would have won the fight. What I'm saying is, if the referee had told Whyte, had cautioned Fury, there would have been a few seconds left for Whyte to go back to scoring. He might have been in no fit state to continue, and I'm not saying that Whyte would have won the fight from that position. What I am asking is that, is Whyte within his rights to have requested for the referee to push Tyson back and told Tyson off for pushing him when he was hitting him on his way down?
That's a small part of it. Even if the referee cautioned him, Whyte was in no condition to continue. He would have got.
I agree.
He would have got hurt.
There was seconds, I think, less than about 30 seconds left before the end of the round. If the referee had then cautioned Tyson for the knockdown,
the damage was done. He was going to get knocked out anyway, whether it was that round or the next round. Tyson smelled blood, and when he smells blood, in comes Soon Man.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely. It was over with.
Oh, sure, the fight was over with, but that push, that was not legal.
The
that
uppercut was the issue, not the push.
I'm aware of the uppercut, but it's the push I have the problem with. But it's not.
Yeah,
it's not, you can't go around pushing people like that.
But it was instinctive.
I don't. That's still okay. So wait. If I kick a guy on the way down, I say, well, it was instinctive. I get disqualified for that.
I see plenty of people. You know, they'll throw a punch and just instinctively they're just going to try to defend themselves and turns into a push. It happens. It happens.
Okay.
But it was for me, it was no big thing because the damage had been done. Did you see how he hit the floor?
Yeah, I've seen him get stretched already by Povetkin. So yeah.
By the same punch.
By the same punch. Or
I think Tyson did it with the right hand. Povetkin did it with the left hand.
Left hand.
But
uppercut city.
Tyson did it with right uppercut, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
The right uppercut.
Can both of you explain to me as to how a fighter, regardless, I didn't think Tyson would knock him out because of the height with the uppercut. How a guy gets knocked out with the same punch over and over and over again. 3 different fighters at 3 different heights. How is he still getting hit with the uppercut?
Lack of training. Lack of preparation. You learn a lesson from the first time you get knocked out, so you try to safeguard yourself from getting hit with the same punch again. In fact, every time he get in trouble, he get in trouble from an uppercut.
Absolutely.
So
well, Bashir is right. If you get hit, you get hit uppercut. Everybody know that you can hit this man with an uppercut. It's been proven. He's been knocked out with an uppercut. He doesn't, like you say, you got to train. You got to be taught how to avoid. And you look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson got hit with several uppercuts, but Mike could get away from a lot of uppercuts because he realized that he was vulnerable because of his style to uppercut. So he was taught how to avoid that. I had a fighter by the name of Booker T. Ward. Was strong. You can hit him on either side of the chin, and it wouldn't bother him. But if you hit him right here underneath the bottom of the chin, he's on his back every time. So this kid is vulnerable, and he's more talk than he is fighter, man. That's all there is to it. You act like this guy's an A class fighter. This guy's no more than a B- fighter. So he's in there with an A class fighter. That's all that is. You know, the competition wasn't there. You know, that's it. I mean, Povetkin knocked him out. I pulled Trevor Bryant off of Povetkin when I was training for the Klitschko fight. I had to pull Trevor Bryant off Povetkin. Say, look, you messing up your money. You know, you can't hit him with these type of shots. Those was years ago. And they come along here and knock this boy out cold. I mean, stretching him. Come on, what do you expect Tyson Fury gonna do? You know, call it like it is. Mismatch. Good fight though for the fans because they're hometown boys. Big crowd, a lot of talk. Good for boxing.
Where does Tyson Fury rank in both of your opinion in terms of all-time great heavyweights?
I can't
12,
I can't put him up there with Ali and Joe Louis yet. If you hang around for a while, you got to put him up there with the all-time greats in the top 5 because he has everything to be there.
12, 13. I mean, there's a lot of great guys in there, you know. Tyson and
right.
Tyson, you know, there's a lot of great fighters that's in there. Jack Dempsey and those guys, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due. Those guys was fighting tougher guys. These guys that Tyson is fighting is either over the hill or either they just not equipped enough to deal with it. And like I said before,
I want to, you know what? I want to comment on what Coach just said. If you ever read a lot of stuff, I've always did those interviews. I keep telling people constantly over and over and over. They talk about Floyd Mayweather being pound for pound the best. And I was telling them, look, if he come along with Roberto Duran, he came along with Tommy Hearns and all those guys, he never would have made it. There's two fighters that I know. That's fought better competition than anybody. One was Muhammad Ali, and the other one was Evander Holyfield. If you look at the competition and the quality of opponents that they fought, most of those guys was A+ and A- fighters. These guys, you know, half of these guys, in my day, I could beat half of these guys, these so-called champions fighting. So Bashir is right. You got to look at the quality of the opponents.
You know? Got to look at the quality of the opponents.
Let's say we put Tyson Fury in the ring with Mike Tyson, the Mike Tyson that beat Trevor Berbick. Stacy, you can answer the question.
The 20-year-old or 21-year-old Mike Tyson you're talking about?
Yes.
You got a different fight right there.
Yeah, you got a different fight.
You got a different fight right there, brother. You know, you're talking about the 20-year-old, 21-year-old Mike Tyson was mentally strong and vicious.
Like I've said on numerous occasions, if Tyson Fury was not 6'9" with a humongous reach, we wouldn't be having this conversation about Tyson Fury.
Right.
He'd be an ordinary fighter.
Right.
But the height and reach is humongous. In today's heavyweight division, it certainly would have been humongous in yesteryear. But if we wasn't dealing with the height of the man and the reach of the man, well, not even so much the reach, the height of the man, it makes it difficult for smaller fighters to get to him. But if he was 6'3", 6'4", we wouldn't be having this conversation, in my opinion.
No, you wouldn't.
He's a good fighter, but the thing that's separating him is he's got so much height. He has some athleticism, not the greatest rhythm, but he has some athleticism. But the thing is dealing with the height of the man. If the man was 6'3", 6'4", we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, you can ask Eric Lubin about that. Look what just happened to him by fighting this tall giant. But you're absolutely right, Bashir.
We wouldn't be having this conversation. The whole thing is the guy is 6'9". The guy's got this monstrous reach, you know, where he can hit people from his back porch.
Yeah.
And the people would be down at the gas station getting punched in the face, and they can't reach him because he's so tall, so out of range.
I would say Tyson Fury was a better boxer at the time when he had Peter Fury in his corner and was fighting Klitschko. He much more movement, faster hands, better on his feet. Now he's more of a just stand up, walk forward, and hit you with big punches. He's sitting down. He's more exciting to watch now, Tyson, but I think he was more skillful when he was with Peter Fury. Your thoughts, both of you? Well,
my thoughts on that is Sugar Hill has converted him to that type of a fighter. He's looking at his size and his weight, and he's saying, why are you moving from these fighters? You don't have to move. Work behind your jab and take it to them. You're too big and you're too strong. You got the reach. You got the speed. So he kind of turned him into that boxer puncher type fighter, which I saw in the last couple of fights. And I was thinking about my boy, and I was saying to myself, I said, now this is more suitable for Trevor Bryant, for him to fight the type of fight that he's fighting now, being a boxer puncher coming forward, than Trevor Bryant trying to catch up with all that shaking, baking, moving like Walcott, all that shaking and baking, punching off them movements. That's keep a guy confused a little bit. But if he's standing there like a big, strong, big man, then it makes him a little bit more vulnerable.
That's what I think. That's why I felt that Whyte had a better chance because Tyson wasn't moving as much. But he didn't use a double jab. He didn't back Tyson up the way he should have done. He didn't do anything. So
and he didn't
see the here nor there now.
He didn't do no credible body work.
He threw one shot to the body. He never threw 2 or 3 shots together.
One shot. You know, when you go to a grocery store, you get a bunch of groceries. You don't get one box of anything. That's why you went to the grocery store, so you can load up.
I've never heard that before, Uncle, but I'll take that. The grocery store.
Go in there to go in there and get a host of things. So when you get close, you're going to fire. That's one of your biggest chances to work the body, to make that height disappear. You make the height disappear by that body.
Yeah.
Taxing that body. When you tax that body, that height will disappear.
Mike Tyson would have went to his body. Mike Tyson hit him all on his pelvic bones, hip bones, and everything. He done made that big joker fold over. Once he fold over, that's it. And he come up to the head. But he done went downstairs on him. You know.
So okay. Now, Uncle Bashir, let me ask you now. Lennox Lewis versus Tyson Fury. There's a lot of talk about Lennox Lewis recently because of him being British, former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. How would Lennox Lewis have dealt with Tyson Fury? Because people are saying, well, depends what Lennox turns up. If he's lackadaisical, he could get knocked out. But if he's on form, he could beat Tyson Fury. Your thoughts?
Lennox Lewis would have took him to the streets the same way he did with Vitaly. He went to the streets on Vitaly. Vitaly was having a good time boxing, using his good jab and stuff, and Lennox just took it to the streets and let's go, let's fight. And that's what Lennox would have did with Tyson Fury. He would have took it to the streets with Tyson Fury and made that into a street fight, which Lennox Lewis was going to win via knockout. I think Lennox was just too tough, too mentally tough, too physically tough, and could punch. He could punch with both hands, left or right hand.
Well, he absolutely could punch with either hand, because I fought him early in his career with Tony Tucker. And we had Tony Tucker. We thought Tony Tucker was going to win the fight. But Lennox Lewis proved to be stronger. And with the punching power that he had, he was very strong, a big guy. And then once he got with Emmanuel Stewart, he became a better fighter anyway. So, and I even advised Tyson not to fight him when he almost got fired for that one. But you know, Lennox Lewis, I think he'd have beat Lewis would have beat him. Yeah.
Okay, while you're there, Stacey, with that point of Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, there's a lot of talk that people say, well, you know, Lennox fought him at the end of his career, which is true. The 20-year-old Mike Tyson against Lennox Lewis, I guess you have to use the Emmanuel Stewart Lennox Lewis.
Knock him out.
Knock who out?
He'll knock him out.
Mike would knock
Tyson would have knocked Lennox Lewis out. Hey, look, let me tell you something. I can go back and get you. I think there's a video. I can get you a video or a picture with Mike Tyson at 17 or 18 years old, knocking out Lennox Lewis in the gym up there in the Catskills. 16 to 17-year-old Mike Tyson. He'd have knocked him out. There's no doubt about it. You know, I advised Mike not to fight Lennox Lewis. And they told me that, hey, look, if you want to keep your job, you keep your mouth shut. But I told Mike, I said, look, your legacy is engraved in stone. You don't need Lennox Lewis. At the time, Lennox Lewis had just fought Francois Bolter. He was looking sharp. Emmanuel Stewart had him sharp. I advised Mike, I said, Mike, he got a good corner and he got good boxing people around him. Right now, you sitting on your ass They got you. You ain't even fighting. They done gave you $500,000 not to fight, and you sit up here telling me, "Well, we're gonna be all right now." When I asked Mike to fight Lennox Lewis, it's when Mike fought Vlad in Detroit, and I told him, I said, "Look, you weigh 225. You right at the peak right now. Now it's time to fight Lennox Lewis." So what did they do? It took him 18 months. He didn't fight nothing. He's still right there. Now I say, look, you're not sharp enough. And let me explain something to you. When we was in training camp in Hawaii, there's a big Bashir know, Corey Sanders, the one-eyed Corey Sanders.
Yeah.
Hit Mike in the fourth round in training, 18-ounce gloves on. And I saw something funny in Mike's face when we were training. And I asked him after the fight, I said, "Mike, you all right?" He said, "How many rounds did I go?" I said, "You went 8 rounds." He said, "I don't remember anything past the 4th round." That was a wake-up call right there. But you ain't got no business in there with no Lennox Lewis. He was too sharp and too strong at the time. But, you know, but the money was there. So let's go get paid, I guess. That's what it was.
The true story. They said, I remember you called me saying, "Listen, come on down to Hawaii, bring Maurice with you, you know, that we need Maurice to become heavyweight champion of the world." Lennox called us up and offered us more money. And so Lennox said, "I don't need Maurice here in camp to box Mike Tyson. Height different, style different, but I don't need him." But Emmanuel's philosophy was that we need Maurice Harris in this camp. So pay him $5,000 a week so he don't go to Mike Tyson. And Lennox said, "Why would I do that? I'm not going to box him." Emmanuel's thinking was that no, the only guy that can prepare Mike Tyson to beat you is him. So we need Harris. We need Harris in this camp so he can't go to Mike Tyson. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, you know, I've always said it. And everybody know that I always quote it. I said, look, Emmanuel Stewart was one of the smartest men to ever be in the fight game. I've already said it. I said he's a better manager than he is a fighter. I said people don't understand that. That's why most of his fighters won, because he knew matchmaking. He knew how to manage and move a fighter. And that right there was a brilliant move that Bashir just said. That's a brilliant move. It sounds like a lot of wasted money, but it wasn't, because Maurice, with his style and boxing ability, that Bashir taught him all this stuff, then he could have really helped us out a lot. And we was trying to get him, but now I understand what happened. You know?
Yeah, Emmanuel. I think Mike was wanted to offer us $3,000 a week, and Emmanuel came and said, "Man, give him $5,000 a week." And Lennox was balking about it. And Emmanuel said, No, don't cut your nose to spite your face. Give the man $5,000 a week. Sit him in this camp so he don't go nowhere. And Maurice tried to leave the camp, and Lennox said, "No, ain't nobody leaving nowhere." Because Maurice was the kind of guy to take that money from Lennox and then hop on a plane and go down to help Mike and then come back. Stacy, you know Maurice. You know him better.
Yeah, sure. You know, Emmanuel Stewart, when getting back to Lennox, when Oliver McCall was getting ready to fight Lennox Lewis, okay, Emmanuel Stewart told Don King, said, "Look, the sparring that we got is no good, and we want Tony Tucker. That's what we want. We want Tony Tucker." And Don said, "Well, I'm not going to pay Tony Tucker $3,000 a week." So Emmanuel Stewart told Don, "Do you want the championship or not? Are you talking about $3,000? Do you want to win the title?" So Don went on and paid Tony Tucker to go spar with Lennox Lewis. That was Emmanuel Stewart's call. Absolutely.
Wow.
It was a great call. Yep. That was his call.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, that Emmanuel Stewart was a master strategist.
Right.
He was a better strategist than he was trainer.
Right.
Because after the Tommy Hearns era, that's what happened to Emmanuel. Emmanuel became a strategist. He became everything but a trainer.
Absolutely.
But he was a clever human being. He had a boxing mind, you know?
Absolutely. And he was my mentor. He told me, he used to tell me all the time. He said you stick with your basic fundamentals. He's fundamentalist sound. He said he's all the slick stuff you see that that Dale Williams and all teaching these fighters, all that's good, Stacy. But in the long run, your basic fundamentals will take over. Now, I would tell you something that you don't realize. A lot of people don't realize. Emmanuel Stewart wasn't good at a guy like a fighter that fight like Mike Tyson, a guy that's a slugger. He was good with most boxers. He was a boxer. He couldn't train those other fighters. He tried to train Mickey Goodwin, all those guys. He didn't have that. He didn't have that other style that he could train. But he was a master boxer type trainer. And he basic fundamentals. He believed in basic fundamentals and strategy and matchmaking. Great matchmaker.
Yeah.
What would have happened had Emmanuel Stewart been alive long enough to train Tyson Fury? What would have happened?
He's been a better fighter. I mean, it's hard to say because he wouldn't have Tyson Fury walking straight to the guy. I doubt that. What do you think, Bashir?
I think that Emmanuel would have had him use his jab a lot more.
Right.
And he would get knockouts from long distance.
Right.
Push him back with a jab and land long right hands. But he would
right.
not close to a fighter in fighting.
Right.
That's how Emmanuel would do it. Now,
you're absolutely right. That's his style.
You're doing it goddamn wrong. You throw the jab. Use the jabs and then wait and clean up with the right hand.
And clean up the right hand.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I always say that most Detroit fighters and most Detroit trainers, they was jab, left hook, right hand men. It's all jab, left hook, right hand men. They set you up. They set you up pretty. A lot of people don't understand that Tommy Hearns didn't have the best chin in boxing, but it was hard to get to that chin. So what we did was we diverted him away from right hand. A lot of people didn't know that.
And it's hard to discourage his heart. You know, you can't.
That's right.
Most boxers don't have everything. You know.
Right. Right.
One thing you can never discourage Tommy Hearns. You can never question his heart. You can never question his desire. So all the pluses. He didn't have the greatest chin, but he had a whole lot of things, other things to make up for it.
Got that right hand.
That's right.
All right. He could, and not just the right hand. That left hook to the body was a mother. That left hook to the body.
Yeah.
Tommy Hearns had a lot of things to make up for that day, you know, and you see. You know, I think Juan Rodon put him down, didn't he?
Who?
Rodon put him down. So Tommy Hearns was Tommy Hearns was a monster. All right, he was a monster, and I don't see Floyd Mayweather getting out of 7 rounds with Tommy Hearns.
Yeah, wow.
Shit, he wouldn't get out of 4. He wouldn't get out of 4 rounds. Get knocked out.
You get knocked out.
Wow.
Listen, man, this guy was dangerous, man.
Tommy Hearns,
this guy was dangerous for real.
He was lethal. He was a lethal guy. Floyd was a slick guy. Floyd was a craftsman. Floyd was better early in his career as opposed to late in his career.
Right.
Early in his career, he gambled a little more, but that gambling would have got him KO'd by Tommy Hearns.
Sure would have.
He would be better suited fighting Tommy late because he was more crafty. He depended more of his skills. But
you know, I predicted two fights, and they damn near ran me out the gym. It's when Tommy got ready to fight Sugar Ray Leonard the first time. And you know, I was in the gym, I was training Michael Moore and all those guys. But I told them in the gym, I told Walt them, I said, listen, y'all can say what you want to say. I said, but Tommy ain't gonna beat Ray Leonard. Oh man, they went crazy. You got to get out of the gym, you this and all that. So Emmanuel told me, so well, leave him alone, leave Stacey alone. So Emmanuel said, why do you think that? I said, because I know both fighters. I said, I know both fighters. I said, Sugar Ray Leonard is different. He's in a whole different class. I said, he ain't gonna beat. I said, Tommy ain't smart enough. He ain't got enough experience. You get all them early knockouts. I said, but he's not gonna beat him. I also predicted that Sugar Ray Leonard wasn't gonna beat Roberto Duran the first time. I said, he's not gonna beat Duran. But I predicted that Duran was gonna get beat by Tommy Hearns. So it's styles and all that stuff. It's a lot to this stuff, man.
I want to ask you both a question regarding Emmanuel Stewart and Javon Hill, Sugar Hill Stewart. I do want to ask you both this question because there are a lot of people who are not informed in boxing. And you two guys are two of the best in the business when it comes to boxing training and coaching and mentoring and being teachers. Sugar Hill Stewart, Emmanuel Stewart, apart from being a relative, how far does their are they training similar, or is it very different? And how do you separate them? Because a lot of people say,
let me answer that. Let me answer that for you. Let me answer that. The reason why I asked you that because I knew Sugar Hill when he was a little boy. I knew when he was fighting amateurs. Okay, I knew it. He wasn't that good of an amateur fighter. Okay, Emmanuel Stewart took Sugar Hill because that's his nephew. He took him and he took this other kid that was training Klitschko. Okay, and he mentored those guys and he raised those guys. Those guys went behind Emmanuel. Emmanuel took those guys and said, "Look, I'm gonna make you guys this. I'm gonna make you that." And what happened was, after a while, if you notice that Sugar Hill and those guys are getting these fighters when these fighters are already world champions and close, and some of them is close to being world champions. If they had to bring them from one fight to where they are now, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
I agree. I was there after Stacy.
Yeah.
For many years, nearly 17 years. And
that's right.
When I came in, I think Javen had just graduated high school, you know?
Right.
And he emulated some of the things that he thinks that Emmanuel would do, but it's a difference. But there's a difference in the trainership. Application, knowing is one thing, but application is another thing. Javen saw different things, and Jonathan saw different things that Emmanuel did, and they tried to adapt. But applying is far different than knowing. You know, in boxing, applying something, when you got two things working together, application and knowledge working together, is unbeatable. But so you got a case where people are trying to apply what Emmanuel taught, but application is different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, like I say,
it takes time. It takes time. I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
It takes time. In those 53 years, I've made plenty of mistakes. I'd go back to the drawing board, I look at what I did in the fight, and I say, I shouldn't have did that. I should have did this. So it takes time to elevate this.
Hey guys, I got to go. That's Trevor Bryan. I got to go to the airport.
All right, go away.
Okay. Let's kick him out the studio.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's get him out. Hold on. He's still there. I think he's frozen now. I don't know if...
Yeah.
Are you there, Stacy? Was he gone?
Yeah, I'm somewhere.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're frozen. Okay,
right.
very quickly, Stacy. Let's get straight to Daniel Dubois and Trevor Bryan. I want to talk about the last fight Trevor Bryan had, and how you felt his performance was, and how you feel that's going to prepare him to fight Daniel Dubois.
Well, the last fight he fought a kid. Actually, the kid was game. The kid come to fight, and the kid was game. But Trevor Bryan wasn't fighting his best.
Okay.
Stacy,
you there?
All right, kick him out of the room.
Kick him out of the room. No love for Stacy.
Stacy.
He's gone, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone. Well, that was getting interesting. Well, yeah, while we're at it, Uncle, let me get myself off camera.
I was at that last fight. I was in Ohio at that last fight that Trevor Bryan had, and I wasn't impressed with him at all.
You think it's because of the layoff? Maybe.
Nah, maybe he thought the guy was going to be an easy fight. But again, that applies to your training. You got to prepare for everybody. You never know. You never know what's going to happen in a fight, and the kid came to fight.
So, well, he's defending his title shortly. Trevor Bryant. They're going to out.
I invited Stacy while you was off the air. I told Stacy, I said, look, you know, you do a good thing for Trevor to bring in Vlad in and paying us.
Yeah,
to be a sparring partner.
Yeah, I was there watching it. So yeah, I'm glad to see that once again. Yourself is going to be working with Stacy and bring Sirenko into the camp. That's good. That's real good.
Sirenko can light a fire under Trevor Bryant.
That's good. Oh, and I'm sure you'd love that.
Yeah, I want to be in that camp.
Yeah, but the thing is, Uncle, isn't it a case of like now you take Sirenko into camp, but Sirenko and Bryant is a fight that you could see down the line. So how does that work? How do you manage that?
Of course. But it's common knowledge that sparring partners always wind up fighting the champions.
But they say, I've heard people say that, oh, just saving a bit. I saved myself. I didn't give him my full 100%. But then what sort of sparring partner are you if that's the case?
Nonsense. You go in the sparring camp and you spar and you do the best that you can, and then you come to the fight and you do even better.
I found it very difficult when people say they only gave 50% in sparring. When you're getting punched in your head or punched in your stomach, you can't give 50%.
No. They say that, but I've been there in numerous sparring camps, and they're giving 100%.
Yeah.
Trying to keep the guy off their ass.
Pride, ego, it's all there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So how, I mean, yeah, interesting. Javon Hill and Jonathan Banks, they are after yourselves, I would say the next generation of trainers.
Mm.
They are going to be what they call it, when you pass the torch. What do they call us people when you pass the torch? Ambassadors, or maybe you pass the torch over?
I don't know.
But that's the future of boxing with these two guys, Banks and Javon Hill, right?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
What does that look like?
Well, I think so far they're doing a good job.
But the future,
you know, they're doing a good job so far. I mean, they're working with good fighters, but like Stacy said, those guys, they haven't bought anybody from the bottom.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I think, is working with Badu Jack. I think he's working with Triple G and maybe another fighter.
Stevenson.
Well, whoever.
But Donnie Stevenson.
Yeah, Donnie Stevenson. But those guys were already made. Stacy was alluding to the fact real trainership qualities come when you got to bring a guy from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
The way I did with Maurice Harris, the way I did with Vlad Sirenko, the way I'm doing with Igor Poveko, I'm bringing them guys from scratch. Sure, they had amateur careers, but amateur boxing is a bit different from pro boxing. Smaller gloves, no headgears, it's a different cry, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So it's different. As I said before, I bought Vlad Sirenko from nowhere, you know, all the way to 19-0 with 16 KOs. That took ingenuity, that took timing, that took application, that took a lot of patience. It's 5 years after the fact. And for people who weren't there, they say, oh, it's just 5 years, but 5 years of toil. And I think that the biggest test was us being the time we spent down in South Africa. Man, I just don't want to do that again. You know, I don't want to do that, and that was difficult for me. Maybe not for Vlad Sirenko, but for me, it was difficult. You know, trying to apply myself, you know, in South Africa. It was just a different climate, different climate.
It's a very different world.
It was difficult, but that's what Stacy was alluding to. The real mentorship comes from when you get a guy from the beginning, from the very beginning,
and you build
them into a fighter. That's the whole thing. To build them. That's when you find out what a guy knows, what his trainership abilities are. Yeah, when you got a guy that's already made, you can critique this and critique that and say, "Oh, well, it's easier." But when you're trying to teach a guy right from wrong, when the jab, when the shake, you know, when not to shake, when the hook, you know, when the counterpunch, it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I've got a young kid now. The kid is 5'11", 228 pounds.
Wow.
That's 11 shoe, and he's only 11 years old, and he doesn't know anything about boxing. He doesn't know anything about boxing. He got his legs is bigger than my chest, and he's 11 years old, and he doesn't know anything about boxing. So now I'm teaching him how to jab, you know, just how to jab. That's the only thing I want to learn, balance and how to jab. Now I'm starting with a guy 11 years old. So I'm thinking that if God blesses me to be 80 years old, this kid should be just about coming to fruition. You know, and I'm 70 now. So I'm teaching this young kid. The kid doesn't know anything. How to stand, how to deliver punch, anything. But I'm impressed with his desire to be a boxer. He calls me, his father calls me, "Hey, when we going to the gym? Hey, I want to learn. Hey, I want to learn. I want to learn. I want to get in the ring of boxing." So you can't get in the ring of boxing. I just want to try it. I want to get in the ring and try it. So I said, well, maybe this guy could be another George Foreman. Maybe. At 11 years old, at 5'11", I said, good gracious. And the guy's 228 pounds or something. And he's not a fat kid. He's just a big kid. And he can punch. So I want to just teach him just to see what's going to happen. I'm interested in teaching him just to see how he's going to turn out.
I'm just hearing some news about Oleksandr Usyk from Eugene. I'm going to see if I can get him for you as well. So you can very quickly see if I can get him. He's here. He's talking to me about it. He's seen it. Don't know if he'll jump in though. The person that called me told me about DILLIAN Whyte and what was going on behind the scenes. Oh, there we go. Never mind. We'll have to talk about that another time. Eugene.
Yes.
Are you there?
I am.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Uncle Bashir, you remember Eugene?
Yes.
How you doing, Mr. Bashir?
I'm doing fine.
So go ahead. Could you update me on the situation with Oleksandr Usyk and this supposed injury?
Right. It turned out to be a nothing burger. Unless, well, Jared Miller has some scoop into Usyk's camp that is not public. Because it came out a day before information about Usyk leaving Ukraine came out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically his way of saying, "Hey, the fight's not gonna happen. Fight me instead," which is, well, rich coming from Jared Miller to try to get any sort of fight after his history, but whatever. Basically, no injury confirmed yet. Although in his recent videos, you can see a fresh cut on his right eyebrow. That's
Okay.
interesting.
Is that could that cut come from sparring or?
Your guess is as good as mine. He hasn't addressed it, but it's been pretty fresh and is fading away in more recent pictures and videos. I would guess it sorta is. So now that he has left, he evacuated his family because, as I said in the previous show that we did, his place is in Vorzel, which is kind of like a suburb of Kiev. And his wife posted pictures. Apparently, Russian troops broke into his house and trashed the place. They used it as, I guess, staging place. There was nobody there at the time, but you know, they came back and saw the mess and were pretty pissed, obviously, because the whole idea why Usyk moved out from Crimea to Kiev was actually because of the political issue. So if we swing back to him not making his stance known, they actually addressed that, right? Because he had his home in Crimea, his mother was there and his wife with kids. Journalists who were trying to get some sort of clear response from him about his position regarding the whole Ukraine-Russia war. He couldn't answer it because there were threats to his family. Some people were threatening to bomb his wife's car.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
And she was trying to keep her head down because there were threats that there would be a fake criminal case against her. Like they would do a raid and find something planted in their house and just take her away to imprison her under false pretense. So that's why he moved his family to Kiev or the suburb, and now I guess he had to move them again.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
How does a man psychologically deal with that? I mean, I've come back to my place before and it's been ransacked. And I was much younger. I must have been a teenager, come back to my house and seeing our house being bundled and stuff being taken and stuff that was like dear close to me had been stolen. So I mean, this is a grown man in Oleksandr Usyk, a unified heavyweight champion of the world, and yet he has little to no security of his house in 2 occasions, and one's been broken into. His wife is threatened. I mean, that must have some effect on his mental state.
I bet he's pretty pissed because, as any man, his primary objective and primary purpose is to keep the family safe. All the rest comes second because this comes first: your kids, your wife, right?
Yeah, of course.
So seeing people violate that privacy and that security that freely, I can imagine that he's pretty damn pissed.
I saw there was a video that came out said that he wasn't ready for the Joshua fight. But I didn't watch the video. I just saw a clip of it and a thumbnail saying like he was in tears. He said he wasn't ready for the Joshua fight. Is this true or did I misinterpret that?
I don't know, and to be honest, it could be an earlier video because, again, I could imagine that when he was worried about his family and getting them out and everything, his head was completely not tuned for fighting, right? So obviously, if you ask a question like that to someone who is preoccupied with the safety of his family, he'll tell,
yeah, I'm not
forget
ready.
about the fight. I have bigger fish to fry here.
Yeah. Uncle, let me bring you into the forefront of this now. Your thoughts on what you've just heard there from Eugene, who is you're Ukrainian, right, as well?
Yes.
Eugene? This is Ukrainian, as you know. So
you're still there, Eugene?
Oh no, I've been in Canada for a long while, but I kept an eye on
How about your family?
My family's safe. They're away from everything happening. They're in the south, where like Lomachenko area is where he lives.
Okay,
Right.
right. That's the first and foremost. You know.
That's a blessing,
Yeah.
because it wasn't up to us. It was a lot.
It's horrible to think that that I probably won't be alive when Kiev is rebuilt.
Yeah.
Rebuilt into what it was, and probably going to be better. I probably won't be alive, and it'll probably be many years before Kiev is rebuilt. Maybe 75 years with all the damage that this person has done.
Yeah.
So it's just inconceivable.
Well, rebuilding is one thing. To be honest, buildings come last at human suffering that came the price.
Human suffering. Right? Yes.
That you cannot rebuild at all, and that's the tragic part about it.
Yes. Well, I was trying to not even raise that issue, but I suppose you're right, Well, I knew it anyway, but I just didn't want to think about that right now.
Yes.
Yeah. That's understandable.
So last time we spoke, me and Ingram, he mentioned that you were in some part of Kiev that Vitaly told you to get out of. What was that about?
Not Kiev. It was a different town. It wasn't Kiev.
So.
With the Ukraine, as a part of Ukraine you were in.
Oh yeah, I was up. Yeah, I was a couple of years back. I was up near the front where all the Russians was. I saw where the separatists was.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? It wasn't Lviv. Lugansk.
Okay, but that city was occupied at the time, so you would be nearby?
I was there. I was in Lugansk.
Oh, we just went there while it was occupied?
I was in Lugansk some years ago, and Vitaly and Vladimir told me, don't go there, to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That I should leave from there. And I think the Russians were there then. And they told me not to wear none of their apparel, nothing saying that Team Klitschko on it. Nothing like. I was there in Lugansk. I was there for a week.
Wow. I didn't know.
And Vladimir told me to get out of there, And 2 days later, I was on the train leaving to go back to Kiev.
Wow.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty. That is nuts. I'm nuts. I was there. I was there for a week, and I was totally unconcerned until they said something.
Oblivious to all sightseeing, shopping.
Like I was just visiting Ukraine, but then I started looking around. I started seeing people at phone booths and stuff. Like they were looking at me. I said, I don't know what.
Wow, Uncle. Wow.
I was right in the middle of it. Vladimir said, "You where?" I said, "I'm in Lugansk." He said, "You what are you there? What are you?" Get on the train. Get on the train. Don't wear none of our uniforms or anything. Don't let nobody know that you know who you are.
Right. Yeah, that's a classic clueless tourist, right? You're like in the middle of the worst part of the country, and you don't even know.
Because they figured that somebody would grab me, and try to hold me as some kind of ransom or some stuff,
Yeah.
Wow.
I was there. I was harmless, but until they said that, when they said that, I said, "Oh man, I couldn't wait to get on the train to get out of there."
Wow. Uncle, what are your thoughts on what you've heard from Eugene regarding Usyk's state of mind and what's happened. His wife being threatened and the house being broken into.
Oh man, I can only imagine what he's going through. You know, I wouldn't try to box under those circumstances. You know, boxing would be the last thing I'd be thinking about right now. And I think the organization should give him time to collect himself before he starts training for the fight versus Anthony Joshua.
I heard the fight's on June the 25th in Saudi Arabia. That's what I keep hearing.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I just can't see that happening. You know, I can't. Maybe July, maybe August, maybe even September. You know, I wouldn't be appalled if it was September, because you got to give the man time to get himself together, get his family together. And I know that Anthony Joshua feels the same way. You know, I believe, knowing what I know of him, that he would feel the same way. You know, that he'd be concerned about the man's family.
Yeah, but that aside, knowing the mindset of certain people, would they not say, well, this is the best time to get him? Get him now because he's not in the right frame of mind. That's the best chance you've got of becoming heavyweight champion of the world again. And then just jump on him. And then you become heavyweight champion of the world again. Because you know there are slimy people in boxing, Uncle, that will try and push that agenda.
Well, I still think it's up to the champion when he's going to come out. The commissions, the organizations, they got to work with the man because of the circumstances in Ukraine.
Can they force him to fight? I mean, can they force him, say, if you don't fight this fight at this date, we're stripping you? Can that be done? Has it been done before?
Yeah. But again, his biggest concern is his family. So if they say that, they say, all right, take it. You know, that's what I would do. I'd say take it. You know, but I'm going to make sure that my family is all right, and I'm going to make sure that my mind is at peace. Mm-hmm. That my mind is at peace before getting in that ring.
Okay. Uncle, I have to come back and ask the question again, slightly off the topic. I think Leif asked the question earlier, which I want to go back and get to you.
Gotta get some juice here. Wait a minute. Let me get some juice in the juice. Go ahead, continue.
Let's go back here. Question for Uncle Bashir. Will he ever record the knowledge and autobiography or something similar for later generations for boxing trainers? I spoke to you about this before, about a masterclass and putting videos together and doing something about that.
Yeah, I want to do it. You know, I want to do it. And I've been speaking to some people recently about getting together and starting a chronicle where we can begin doing this. I want to do it.
I think you should.
I think I should, you know.
I've said it to you for years now. So, yeah.
I want to. It's always easier said than done. But I want to. I really do want to. I think that young man said to me recently that he wanted to tap into some of my knowledge. You know, I told him it's not my knowledge. The knowledge belongs to time. The knowledge belongs to the human race. What we have of knowledge, we learned and gained from somebody else. I don't care what person says that they got it by themselves. You didn't get nothing by yourself. Everything that you have in your mindset, you got it from another human being. I don't care what it is. You got it from another human being. So there's no such thing as I just went in and I got it by myself. No. You got it from emulating another human being. So So the knowledge that we get in this life, we got it. We adapted it from somebody else. When we come from our mother's wombs, we don't know nothing. We know how to eat. We know how to use our diapers. And we know how to sleep. Those are what we know coming in this world. Everything else we learn from emulating from others. So the knowledge that I have of boxing, I got that knowledge from other people, from other human beings. Everything that I know, I got from another trainer. I learned it. So it's not my knowledge. This knowledge belongs to time. It belongs to the human race. After I'm gone, my words has got to live on. I want to give that knowledge to somebody else, some younger person. Some younger person that's coming along that go back and read my words and try to benefit from those words. Because every one of us has a number. Every single one of us has a number. I don't care what kind of vitamins we do, what kind of push-ups we do, what kind of pull-ups we do, or what kind of swimming we do. Every one of us has a number. And when my number is up, I want people to be able to look back on my words. I want them people to look back on these videos that we're making here now.
Absolutely.
And go back and get wisdom from this here. Because that wisdom don't belong to me. It belongs to time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love doing interviews or not even interviews. That's why I love talking to you. But it's about soaking up that knowledge and gaining stuff from, people like yourself. And before you're soaking up knowledge from them. And then we're talking, I'm getting information from you, learning from them and from your own experiences. That
what is this fan right? What is this?
What's that?
What is this? Something writing under here? I can't see it. The words are like
ant. Okay, guys. A question for Uncle Bashir: is there any ageism in boxing training?
What is it?
Is there any ageism in boxing training? Ageism.
Ageism.
Yes.
Yeah, like discrimination based on your age. Like this guy's too old to learn anything, or this guy's too young to learn this.
Too old to learn. In fact, I saw a guy in the gym yesterday, and the guy was 79, and he looked it pretty good. He looked it pretty good. He was moving around pretty good. So no, there's no ageism. But as far as competing, it's suggested not to try it after certain ages.
Uncle, do you know that the guy Danny Williams is still boxing?
Yeah, I was at an event somewhere where Danny was on the same venue as Vlad sirenko, and I was shocked to see him there. And he lost the fight.
Yeah, he keeps losing fights. He was in the gym the other day, in an empty gym, and he was fighting. And the guy hit him with a punch, and he turned away. And it was just very sad and very sorry to see. Very sad.
You know what? You can't. The best way to combat that there is for people, so-called trainers, so-called cornermen, to say no. He can't go into a corner unless somebody's going with him.
Well, the mentality would be, well, it's his life. I'm just getting paid. Oh. People have got that mentality, Uncle. That's why stuff like this is still going.
That's sad.
I know it's sad.
Actually, I might have something to add to that.
Okay.
Have you watched that debacle with Evander Holyfield fighting Vitor Belfort?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So, to those of you who don't know who Vitor Belfort is, that guy has a track record of juicing to the gills, and as far as I understand, those fights were not tested properly because at 40 something he looked incredible, which is either he's some super athlete or something sketchy is happening. And on his track record, he has one rearranged face when he was fighting Wanderlei Silva. He broke the guy's nose so badly they had to use some bones to reconstruct his nose. And then he fought the English guy, Michael Bisping, and he punched him so badly that the guy lost sight in one of his eyes. And that's the kind of guy they'll let 58-year-old Evander Holyfield fight,
Crazy.
right? When he's on all of the juice that he was usually exposed to when he was battering those people that badly.
It's crazy. Oscar De La Hoya was meant to fight him first.
Yes, but egos on both sides, the participant and those who support the participant.
Yeah.
It's just egoism, you know?
Yeah, but you cannot expect much from the crowd. From the darkest times of our lives, people been watching gladiators killing each other left and right just for entertainment. So somebody has to be wiser than that.
Yes, of course.
Uncle, where do you stand with this whole YouTube movement and Jake Paul being the leader of that?
I don't give it any attention. I don't give Jake Paul any attention. I haven't watched anything. I haven't observed anything, and I don't read anything. I don't observe nothing. I stroll past it on the internet.
But when
you
guys
got these guys you're giving thousands and millions of dollars that you're giving.
Yes.
And you got professional boxers out there, male and female, who deserved, and you don't do it. And because of the sensationalism, you're giving these people millions of dollars, and I just can't connect the dots.
Can you believe a two-weight world champion is on the undercard of a Jake Paul fight? I can't be right, can it? Really?
That's why I said boxing is being made into a mockery.
I can actually top that.
Go
Can
ahead.
you believe a world champion is calling out Logan Paul?
Who's that?
Maurice Brady's.
No!
Yes.
That's my boy.
Mm-hmm. He used to be mine as well. I don't know him anymore. The guy, as tough and talented as he is, should not even consider someone like Jake Paul as anything but a joke.
But I guess it gives him profile. If he beats Jake Paul, if he beats Jake Paul, when he beats Jake Paul, it gives him his profile that much more pizzazz to it. That's the only reason I can see Breeze calling him out for.
I think it brings detriment to his reputation. Even participating in any event with a Logan Paul, just for the game money, I think it does a discredit to who he is and what he stands for. I haven't read anything. I haven't followed it. I haven't read anything. I haven't observed it. I don't do it. It's just a mockery. It's being a box making mockery of boxing.
Wow.
Well, you got people out there doing this stuff for a living, and they can't get $1,000. They can't get $1,000, and you get this guy thousands of dollars for going there to do some kind of sidewalk act. No, I can't get with that.
What are your thoughts with this? Ricky Hatton's is coming back to fight in an exhibition bout against Marc Antonio Barrera.
Well, another thing, I don't pay no attention to that kind of foolishness. It's foolishness. That's for the sensationalists. That's for people that's outside of the respect and knowledge of boxing. That's for people that's not of that class, And I don't Ricky Hatton and Marc Antonio Barrera, no.
But let me ask you this question: if you were paid 10 million pounds to train a guy to fight in an event of that magnitude, would you take it?
Why wouldn't I do it? 10 million pounds. Why wouldn't I do that? If that's an easy way, I don't want to be part of it, but you coming in the door and you give me 10 million pounds, of course you got to get involved in that. I'd be a fool not to take the 10 million pounds. That doesn't mean that I have to like it.
But it's very difficult to say you can't say, but it's difficult if you say you don't like it, but then being offered a certain amount of money and then afterwards be a part of it when people
Money
know you don't
talks,
like it.
yes, money talks and BS.
Some bullshit walks. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that.
I can still dislike it and sit back in the living room and say, I got $10 million in the bank. But you know what? I really don't like that stuff.
There's something that has disturbed me of recent times, and it's the impact of certain two things. Certain people are now getting more damages to the eye, more retina problems and eye issues, and eye sockets broken. And the second thing is when people are getting hit now, there's always this sort of delayed reaction. And then, so I saw it with Charles Martin when he got hit with a punch. I saw it with, what's the girl's name? There's a girl who fought, I can see, Terry Harper that fought. She got hit with a punch, and then like for a split second, and it's like there's a split second when they get hit now, and it's like their brains switch off. That I'm seeing a lot more of that knockouts like that now, more than just a straight bang knockout. I'm seeing this split switch.
Well, I think a lot of times in training, you gotta tell fighters, you gotta instruct them, say, listen, if anything happens that you don't understand, anything that you can't comprehend, take a knee. Take a knee. If you in any kind of confusion, any kind of distress, take a knee. But don't stand there because you make yourself available to anything.
So where are these broken sockets of all these eyes getting broken all the time?
One thing is you got to put more emphasis on defense. Secondly, you have to watch what's going on with the wrappings.
Aha.
I had a boxer many years ago ask me, say, listen, do you think that is a culture, in Mexico? Do you think it's a culture about the Plaza of Paris? Do you think it's a culture that they use? Because so many Mexican boxers punch so hard. And I said, that's a good question. That's a good question. When you think about the guys of Julio Cesar Chavez, Pepino Cuevas, Lupe Pintor, these guys could punch. So it's something that can say we need investigating. You need to watch. You need knowledgeable people in there watching the wrapping of hands. That's why sometimes I'll wrap hands, but I say I don't want the other guy to wrap hands until I'm there to see it because I know what to look for. I know what to examine. I don't want anybody else in there watching the wrapping of hands. I want to be the one to watch the wrapping of hands because I know what to look for.
Is there a way that an experienced trainer or tricks in the trade could teach you how to wrap your hands a certain way so you can generate more power? Or is that a myth?
There's a standard way to wrap. You can only put so much gauze on a man's hands. People say, well, I like the way he raps, but basically there's the standard rap. I don't see what a person could do, how a person could wrap a hand to generate more power.
Margarito.
Yeah, well, that's why it got exposed. But I'm sure prior to Margarito, it was the same thing was being done for many years. It just took the trained eye to observe it being done.
Now there's some talk about
many years ago when Saad Muhammad was fighting.
Yeah.
He's at the very end.
Right.
But he's preparing to fight, and I went to use a bathroom, and I happened to go past the locker room, which was a closed-off section inside of a casino. And I walked past, and I saw sanitary napkins. And I came back, and I said, yo, man, see, you can't use that. They were putting sanitary napkins under the wrap. I said, hey, man, you can't use them because when moisture gets into that sanitary napkin, it's going to turn to a brick. I just happened to go to the bathroom, and when I walked past, you be walking, and then you step backward, and I looked in there and I said, no. can't use that. Well, his hands are sore. I said, you can't use sanitary napkins. No, that's not. And then I call the commissioner and say, hey, man, guys using sanitary napkins. You can't use that. Because when the moisture hits those sanitary napkins, then they were wrapping gauze around the sanitary napkin. They were going to conceal it by wrapping gauze around it. And once the moisture hits, all that to combine together, it's going to turn into a brick.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's the extent that people go through to try to win.
So I've heard, I don't know how true this is, there are commissions that turn a blind eye because they get backhanders. I've even heard, I even goes further than that, I've heard guys that have failed brain scans but that still fight, and this is in America, that still fight because the promoter, they owe the promoter money, and the promoter cannot afford that fighter to go out on them.
Yeah, I believe that happened. I believe it has happened over the years. You know, but those people got to live with that if something happens to that boxer. If somebody dies or somebody's afflicted for life,
damn,
you know, they have to live with that atrocity. I don't want no parts of it.
Damn.
I believe in the sport of boxing. I like the sport of it. I like the competition of the sport. But I don't want to do anything just to win. You know, I want my mind and my heart clear that I did the right thing. I don't want to do nothing that's going to get somebody hurt.
Eugene, is there anything you want to ask Uncle Bashir?
I was going to ask about Vlad Sirenko. What's the case with him? Because he's from Kiev. I would imagine you would not put him in the ring anytime soon. You would sort of need unplanned vacation.
No, I got some things planned for Vlad Sirenko. You know, I'm not going to put him in the ring soon, but we're not going to be forever getting back, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's concerned about his family that's still in Kiev. You know, once that's cleared, once his family is out of Kiev, you know, then we could go on. He wanted to stay in Kiev and be a martyr, I guess. I said, but listen, you have a career. You know, things are not looking the best. I know that you want to be there fighting with your comrades, but that's a choice for the man to make. I don't tell nobody what to do or what not to do. You know.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, I just don't want to be in the position where I can say, oh, well, don't do that. Pursue your career, or do that. You know. I told him you stayed in Kiev long enough. You know. Now it's your decision whether you want to live, leave, or stay.
Can he even leave though? Because there's a general mobilization, and the only way you can leave if you are off prescript.
Well, you know, he had left before the start. He left before it started.
Okay, and he's not there anymore?
No.
Ah, okay, that explains it. Yeah,
you
because
know?
Otherwise he wouldn't be able to leave. Like if you're 18 to 65, you're not leaving.
Yeah.
You know, like you need a special permission, like the one Usyk got, right?
I understand everybody's position. The ones who's left, the ones who didn't leave. I understand the position of each person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I assume that Vlad Sirenko will re-enter the ring shortly. You know.
Yeah.
Uncle, sorry, go ahead, Uncle.
He will box. He will box again. I anticipate, God willing.
Just to wrap things up, Uncle, because today was pretty historic. To have two trainers with such knowledge to talk about boxing for over so many years, yourself with Stacy, today was something very special. The question I want to ask you is, why is it not? You see fighters come together and talk. You see promoters maybe sometimes get together and talk, but you don't see as many times coaches of a certain era coming together and talking. Although they may talk on the side or by, you know, when they go to gyms, but to get them on camera, sitting down, talking, sharing that knowledge. Why do you think that the case is that's not happening more often?
Well, I think that a lot of times people are intimidated by one another. You know, I'm not intimidated by nobody. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. And if somebody could teach me something, I'd graciously accepted it. Accept it, you know. So I would talk with any trainer, those who seek it and those who think they know, you know.
Okay.
I guess Ingram
Okay.
is dreaming of a symposium of boxing coaches. You know,
Well, yeah. Well, we've been talking about it before, haven't we, Uncle?
Yeah, I mean, I can sit down and talk with anybody
You've proven
because
that many times.
I'm humble enough to understand that one human being does not know everything. You know, I look at boxing as though I was viewing an octagon. When you viewing something in the position of an octagon, you view it from below, above, and from every angle. So me communicating with another boxing trainer, it can only add on to what I already know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even after 53 years, you never heard me say that I know it all. I always want to grow. I always want to be better. You know, I always want to grow. I always want to be a better teacher tomorrow than I am today.
The final, sorry, Uncle.
The big test, I think, for any trainer, for those trainers out there who are seeking to become teachers, you know, because me putting trainer before teacher is putting the cart before the horse. So those trainers out there who are seeking to become profound trainers, go back and review those trainers of the past. Review their quotes. Observe their observations, and then try to grow from it. And if you don't understand it, then ask somebody. But nobody really knows everything. I see guys all the time. I see guys that I want Vlad sirenko to fight because the teachers, the trainers are so cocky with the guys. I said, that'll be a good fight for Vlad sirenko. It'll be like a walkthrough. What is this? What is the guy? What is he asking? I can't see these letters.
You just said, wow. You just said Bob Fitzsimmons used to wrap with electric tape and fabric.
Not for a pro fight.
He trained with it.
Not for a pro fight. I can see him using that there to hit the heavy bag or something like that. Yeah, but you can't use that when you box with another human being. If people getting broken eye sockets, one thing is that boxers don't have no defense. This guy Ugas, he don't have no defense. I mean, he got banged up pretty bad with Errol Spence, and he got banged up pretty bad with Manny Pacquiao. The guy just don't have no defense. You know, it's a joke to me when I watch him train. It's like a joke. It's like some kind of mumbo. It's like some kind of mumbo class when he's training.
Mumbo class.
Yeah, man, what is he doing? You know, that stuff doesn't work. That stuff doesn't work in the boxing ring. It's a proven fact. That stuff is not going to work in the boxing ring. You look at the Cuban great Jose Nepos.
Yes.
You understand? He was a master boxer. He was a Cuban that went into Mexico, I think. I think that's where he wound up in Mexico. But he was a master boxer. But you know, all this fancy, cute stuff, that shit doesn't work in a boxing ring. You get in a pro fight, and you get hit on the chin and dropped on that floor, when you get up and go to that corner, if you're lucky enough to get up and go to that corner, then you realize I'm in trouble. All right? All of that fancy, cute stuff doesn't work. And I'm not a student of it. I've never been a student of it.
So, Uncle, what's going to be the title of this video? Because we've covered a lot tonight.
Actually,
and we had
let Eugene title the video.
Eugene, we've had Stacy McKinley on the show with Uncle Bashir. So, and then yourself. So, what do we call the show?
More knowledge forgot more knowledge than you ever knew.
That's nice. It's a long title, though. It's a long title.
No, just more knowledge than you ever knew.
More knowledge than you ever knew. Okay, more knowledge than you ever knew. Well, yeah. To have yourself and Stacy in the room was amazing. It really was.
Stacy McKinley, you know, it's ironic because Stacy McKinley is the only person. I don't know. Stacy might have the tapes, but Stacy McKinley is the only witness that I have to Maurice Harris boxing Mike Tyson.
Well, he says he's got the tapes of Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson, and Lennox being knocked for the roots by Mike Tyson.
Harris used to have some really hot boxing.
I have to grab him for that, and I just get him to get one of those videos out.
I'd like to ask Stacy McKinley, do you have any of those tapes? I'd like to see them. I never saw them. I saw the video, and they wouldn't let me videotape. Every time I came, they say, "Hey, man, you might as well put that away. You can't do that."
Wow.
You know, and I want to see those tapes of Maurice Harris boxing Mike Tyson. And this is when Mike Tyson was Mike Tyson. Wow. Maurice was at his very best. He had to be boxing Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson was ruthless at that point. You know, and he hurt Maurice badly twice. But all the other times, Maurice was taxing that
ass. Uncle, I think we're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much, as always. I just loved tonight. It was a special night. Special.
Eugene.
Yes.
Later, my man. Later. You can contact me. You can contact me anytime you want to.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You don't say that to me. You know, I'm getting jealous now. You don't say that to me.
Oh, man. You know how we do.
That's right.
Oh God, how could you?
Another Ukrainian guy. There's another Ukrainian up there in Canada. Vlad Sirenko was with him at one time.
Who, Teslenko?
He's got like a boxing gym. No, not Teslenko.
Huh.
Teslenko is the one that just lost, right?
Right, but he was training out of Canada.
Yeah, but he just lost.
Yeah, I know. I seen that. It was bad.
He fought Jared Big Baby, right?
Yes, the guy who.
Yeah, I knew that, but when they put him in that fight, he had just come off a 2-year layoff. I can't understand why they put him in that fight. Money. Okay, that did it. You don't have to talk no more. That's why he did it, and he hasn't fought since. Am I right?
Yeah, because that wasn't a wise decision. The only reason you would take it is for the money. It just.
And he got KO'd too, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I was wondering why they took that fight. When I was in Ukraine, I was asking them, why would they take such a fight? And he just came back from a 2-year exile. So they just took the fight for the money. But he could have got really damaged in that fight.
Wow.
He's a small heavyweight to mess with a big guy like that. You know, and the WBC has this new division, the Bridgerweight division, that's more suitable for a guy like Teslenko.
Well, he is 6'4", but he comes in the ring at like 220 and under, like 215.
Yeah, and that you know, they tried to give Igor Plevecko a fight recently to fight a guy. The guy was 6'8", 277. I said, no, we're not going to take that fight. I mean, and I mean, the guy was just 11-0 with about 9 KOs. But my thinking is, why would we take a guy that's 6'8", 6'9", 277 pounds? He hasn't fought nobody. I looked at his record. He hadn't fought nobody. But why would we let this guy build a reputation against you when you're here and you're 7-0 with 5 KOs? It's like an uphill fight because, all right, if you beat the guy, what good does that do you? But if it beats you, what good does that do him? So I said, no, we don't need that fight. We need to fight guys since the WBC has created this division, this Bridgeweight division, people say, oh, the boxing has too many divisions. But you're not trying to make money in boxing. The boxers are trying to make money. So the wise thing to do is to fight in the Bridgeweight division. People that's 240 and down, that's reachable. If you're 6'4", and this guy's 6'9", 6'8", it makes it very difficult to reach him. So we have to argue about that. You just go to Bridgeweight. I told him, no, if you want to take the fight, then you can go and take the fight yourself. I said, but I won't be a part of it. I don't want to be a part of it because it's just too much physical advantage. So I turned the fight away. That's the smart thing to do. And of course he agreed with it. I don't want to throw my boxers to the wolves. I don't want my guys beating half out of their sense. And then when I see them 5 years after their career's over, I can't understand a word they're saying because their brains are all scrambled. I don't want part of that. I don't want no part of that. I want to sit back, do dinner, laugh, and joke about the old days where they're coherent, where they're coherently speaking me and I'm speaking to them and they can understand. But I see too many boxers who don't have that ability. You can't understand nothing that they're saying. You can understand one out of 25 words because their brains are scrambled from boxing, and that's not pretty. I don't want to be a part of that. But there's another Canadian guy that is up in Canada somewhere, and he had what, Eugene, he has he wraps these needles around you. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I got no idea.
He wraps this kind of therapy. It's like a strip of needles that you know what? He's a Ukrainian. He's been in Canada for years, and he always has these heavy bags, and he's got a gym or something in his basement. He's always wrapping these needles, these strips of needles that you wrap around you. And at first, it's very uncomfortable, but it's very therapeutic. He wraps them around your head. They wrap them on your arms, wrap them on your legs. I met him in Oleksandr Usyk's camp many years ago, and he wrapped that stuff around me. And man, he laid me down. That was hurting. I said, man, you have to take this off. But as I laid there, he said, just be still. And I laid there. It continued to hurt, but it hurt in a way that seemed to be beneficial. It seemed. I gotta find this guy. I got him on my Facebook page, and then I'm gonna text it over to you who he is.
All right.
He's a Ukrainian guy. He's a busy guy too. He's a scientist, a busybody, but he's a nice guy. I'll get back to you on him. All right.
Uncle, thank you so much.
Yes. I'm very pleased to be a part of the show.
Absolutely. One of our best, if not the best show.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to try to get in that camp with Stacy McKinley. I think that Vlad Sirenko would be a good look because Vlad Sirenko is going to light a fire under Trevor Bryant.
He needs a lot. He needs to like fire up his ass because he can't box like that against Dubois.
Yeah, because Dubois and Vlad Sirenko, they've been in the ring.
Yeah.
They've confronted each other inside the ring. Yeah, he's got to come in that ring ready to go because Dubois knows I want that title.
Yeah.
So he's going to come ready to rumble. And you said that Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker is on.
Yes.
That's a good fight. Eugene.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I would like to see it.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I can't pick a winner. I can't pick a winner. I can't pick a winner in that fight.
I think Joyce overpowers him, but I think he'll have to ship some punishment first. Though I think Parker's going to try and move in and out.
Weight though. Parker was big that last fight.
Yeah, he's got Andy Lee as his trainer now, hasn't he?
Yeah, Andy Lee is training.
Yeah, Andy Lee's going to be. I think Andy Lee's going to be a very good trainer. I think he's going to be a very good trainer. I think he'd be one to watch, Andy Lee.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah.
Joseph Parker versus Joe Joyce. I think that's gonna be an excellent fight. Now that's one I'll stay up to see.
Absolutely.
Right? That's one I'll stay up to see. I won't miss that. If I have to watch it on the train on the outside car, I want to watch that.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, gentlemen. Eugene, good talking with you.
Take it easy, coach.
Uncle, thank you so much as always.
Yes, most certainly. Always willing, always able.
Thank you, Uncle. We'll talk soon.
Yes. Have a good day, both guys.
Take care, Uncle. Eugene, thank you so much as always.
You're welcome. Sorry it wasn't too much information, but it wasn't public if anything was there. So far, all we have is just Jared Miller speculating. So I tried to bring as much as possible.
Thank you, champ. We appreciate you as always. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.